Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get that sort of classic 80s clean Rockman style tone on a Boss Katana. A Rockman was a little portable guitar processor that was around in the 80s, and it was originally invented by Tom Scholz from the band Boston. Now, what this enabled you to do was to have like a Walkman style unit which clipped onto your belt, and you could put headphones on, plug your guitar into it, put some batteries in it. It used up tons of batteries, and basically walk around and play your guitar. A lot of famous tracks have been recorded using a Rockman, and a lot of famous producers decided to use the Rockman on these recordings because Tom Scholz's guitar sound was so good. Now, famously, Def Leopard's Hysteria was all recorded using a Rockman, and to me, that album still holds up today as a really great sounding album. What I'm going to do today is to show you how to program that sort of guitar tone into a Boss Katana. Specifically, I'm going to be concentrating on Def Leppard's Hysteria guitar tone because it's such an iconic, clean 80s guitar tone. Now, some of the main components of this sound are a ton of compression, which I'll demonstrate. If I play a chord, have a listen how when I hit the chord sort of blooms up. And let me just demonstrate how much compression we're using here. If I play quite lightly, and then I play really hard, you'll hear that the compressor is squashing down just to even out all those notes. Ideally, you want to be using single coils for this sort of sound. Now, I know I'm using a PRS with humbuckers, but I'm using it in the split coil mode, so we get that really bright sort of guitar sound. Let's get to it. The first thing we need to do is have a look at our chain. Now, we need to have all of the effects coming after the amplifier, so I'm going to switch that to chain 1. I'm just going to click on the booster and just make sure the booster's off, as we don't want to be driving this amp at all. It needs to be like a really glassy, clean sound. The sound of the Rockman was almost like a DI'd sort of sound. So we want to get the most clean signal that we possibly can. That's why I'm choosing the acoustic setting. Right, let's turn up the gain just a little bit. And let's bring up the volume just a little bit as well. We still want to have some bottom end in there, so let's just give the bottom end just a little bit of a tweak. Turn up the middle a bit, and also the treble. So there's the basic tone. Now, if you've got a Katana Mark II, just make sure that the variation button is on red. Now, it doesn't matter if you haven't got the variation button, it still sounds great. But the variation button in gives it a bit more of that mid-scoop sort of sound. The next thing we need to do is to have a look at the compressor. Now, this was a really compressed sort of sound. Let's just bring the sustain back a bit. And let's turn on the compressor. Okay, we need to match the volume going in the compressor as if the compressor wasn't switched on. I think just a bit more. Right, let's bring in the attack just a little bit. So we're going to speed up the attack just so we get a bit more of the compressor. And let's brighten it up. Next, I'm going to have a look at the effects. Now, I could have put the chorus in the mod slot, but the reason I'm not doing that is because I needed that for the compressor slot. So I'm going to turn on the effects and let's go all the way up to chorus. Now, because I'm attached to my computer using the USB, because of the effects chain that we've chosen here, the chorus is stereo, if you have a listen. So we get a nice wide sort of chorus effect. So the chorus is using two different, I guess, oscillators where you've got a low rate and you've got a high rate. Now, what I'm going to do is just to turn up the high rate a bit. So we can get that really 80s sort of sound. And the sound we've got is almost like this song. let's click on our delay setting. Now, I'm quite happy with the sound of the delays. I want to get some stereo delay in there, so that's why I'm using the pan delay. But let's just bring back the high cut. As I don't really want the delays to be so high fidelity and bouncing around all over the place. Let's turn up the effect level just a bit. And let's have a look at the reverb. Now, because this is an 80s sort of sound, we want to have a modulated reverb, something like a lexicon style reverb, which is probably what they used on the recording. Okay, I'm quite happy with the reverb time, but let's just bring up the pre-delay. Now, the pre-delay is the amount of dry signal that's going to come through before the reverb kicks in. And I think we could do with just a little bit more. So let's just turn up the effect level a bit. And after doing that, it sounds like this. Some other sort of 80s guitar sounds that are similar to that sort of guitar sound would be like Purple Rain. And even though I'm guessing they didn't use a Rockman on the recording, it's very similar to the Walking on the Moon guitar sound. Now that overly compressed chorus, single coil guitar sound. If you're looking for any Boss Katana preset packs, I'm going to leave some links in the notes below so you can go and check out the Studio Rats preset packs. I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. I really hope you guys got something out of this. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe and click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.